Hey everyone, before we begin, please subscribe to my channel for more stories like this. Your support truly means the world. Why aren't you arguing? That's what she asked. Not angry, not upset, confused. Like something about my silence didn't make sense to her. And honestly, she wasn't wrong. Because for the longest time, I was the one who argued. The one who questioned, the one who tried to fix things, even when fixing them started to feel pointless. Her name was Rachel. We'd been together for 6 years, married for 4. And if you had asked anyone about us, they would have said we were strong, stable. The kind of couple that figures things out. And maybe that was true, at least for a while, because I was always willing to fight for it. Even when it felt one-sided, I'd bring up issues, try to talk, try to understand, try to hold on to something that was slowly slipping away. But every time I did, it felt the same. Dismissed, minimized, turned into something small. Why are you making this a big deal? Can we not do this right now? You're overthinking again. And at first, I listened. I adjusted. I convinced myself that maybe I was the problem. Maybe I was expecting too much. Maybe I just needed to be more patient. So I kept trying, kept arguing, kept caring, even when it wasn't being returned, until one day, something changed. Not suddenly. Not dramatically. Just quietly. I got tired. Not physically, emotionally. Tired of repeating the same conversations. Tired of feeling unheard. Tired of fighting alone. And that's when I realized something. Arguments only happen when both people still care. And I was the only one still trying. So I stopped. Not out of anger, not to prove a point, but because there was nothing left to say that hadn't already been ignored. Days passed and I didn't bring anything up. No complaints. No questions. No attempts to fix what was clearly broken. And at first, she didn't notice, because nothing had changed from her perspective. But then, she did. The silence. The lack of reaction. The absence of something she didn't realize she depended on. And that's when she asked it. Why aren't you arguing? I looked at her, calm. Not frustrated, not emotional, just clear. Because I've already lost interest. And just like that, everything shifted. Her expression changed instantly, from confusion to something else. Something closer to panic. What do you mean? She asked quickly. I didn't raise my voice, didn't explain too much. I mean, I'm not interested in arguing anymore. Silence. Because that answer wasn't what she expected. You used to care, she said. I nodded. I did. That word, past tense, hit harder than anything else. You don't care now? She asked. I paused, then said honestly, not the way I used to. And that's when it really started to sink in, because she realized something important. I wasn't trying to fix things anymore. I wasn't reacting. I wasn't chasing. And that changed the balance completely. You're just going to give up like that? She asked. I shook my head slightly. I didn't give up today. I just stopped trying today. That silence got heavier, because now she could feel it. The shift. The distance. The absence of effort that used to come from me. I can fix this, she said quickly. I looked at her, not with anger, but with something else. Clarity. How? I asked. She opened her mouth, then paused, because she didn't have an answer. Not one that made sense. Not one that could undo months of being ignored. I didn't know it was this serious, she whispered. I nodded. That's the problem. Because when things matter, you shouldn't need to be told. You should notice. You should care before it gets to this point. Tears started forming in her eyes. I miss how we used to be, she said. I looked at her for a long moment, then said quietly, you miss how I used to be. That broke her, because she knew that version of me was gone. I can change, she said. I didn't respond immediately, because I had heard that before. Not in those exact words, but in actions that never followed through. And this time, I wasn't willing to wait and see. Change should have happened when it mattered, I said calmly, not when it's already too late. Tears rolled down her face. Please don't do this, she whispered. I stood up slowly. Not rushed, not emotional, just certain. I'm not doing anything, I said. I just stopped doing everything. And that's the difference. Because sometimes, the end of a relationship doesn't come from a big moment. It comes from the absence of effort. From one person realizing they've been carrying it alone, and deciding to finally put it down. Where are you going? She asked softly. I grabbed my keys, paused for a second, then said, somewhere I don't have to fight to be heard. And with that, I walked out. No argument, no final fight, just silence. The same silence she once asked for, but now it meant something different. Because this time, it wasn't temporary. It was the end. And the hardest part, she didn't lose me when I stopped arguing. She lost me long before that. She just didn't notice until I did. For good.